The pessimists say that it could be rain and snow at some stage of the afternoon, and if it happens, we'll get wet.
Oh, well,
there's no roof, is there, David?
It certainly isn't. We're living in fear. I've left my wet proofs in the car, so I'm holding my breath there. Anything can happen here on Tyneside.
Newcastle, Harper's the goalkeeper. The defence is Barton, Davizas, Helder and Hughes. In midfield, Dyer, Lee, Speed and Gallagher. Strikers Shearer and Ferguson. The referee, Stephen Hodge, blows his whistle. We are underway. Newcastle defending the end to our right in the first half in their black and white striped shirts, black shorts and white socks. And Gallagher immediately hooks the ball out of the play for a throw into Manchester United, whose lineup is as follows. Goalkeeper Bosnich. Defenders Gary Neville, Stam, Silvestre and Irwin. Midfield Beckham, Keane, Scholes, Giggs. Strikers Cole and this man Sheringham, who's beaten in the air by Davizas. Then Scholes hits it down, but only to Duncan Ferguson, whose fitness was in doubt over the last few days, but, well, even half crocked, he's a menace. He plays the ball to the far side to Barton, and it's laid forward to the right side of the penalty area. Speed chases after it, but the pace of the pass, too much for Speed, and it's behind for a goal kick to United. They're insured for a fortune. They're so good looking. Bosnich, left-footed goal kick, up over the halfway line. Speed jumps with Keane, and the ball beats both of them. Headed away by Hughes, and here's Gallagher, a little nudge in the back from Gary Neville. Back to Hughes. Hughes plays it forward, straight out of play, and it's a throw into Manchester United, who haven't... they've only lost once here in the last 7 visits. But what a reverse that was. 5-0 to Newcastle 4 years ago. Neville for United, Manchester United. Oh, of course, they're both United, so if I make the odd slip there, excuse me. Giggs on the far side. Giggs being tackled. Giggs eludes the challenge and then plays a weak pass infield. It's knocked back to him. Giggs left-footed forward towards Cole. Taken on the chest by Helder, and Helder slips a good ball to Ferguson. Ferguson back to Hughes, and Hughes running towards the near side. Taken up by Gary Speed. Speed just tips it over the halfway line, a little ahead of Duncan Ferguson, and the game David Furcott hasn't quite settled yet.
No, it's quite tight. Both sides feeling each other out, and really all the players condensed into the central part of the field. Nobody really putting any pressure on.
Stam stabs the ball towards Scholes, who controls it well, finds Beckham. Beckham infield, but there's Rob Lee to play the ball back to Harper, and Harper clears. Well, there's no goal here as yet, but there's a goal at Highfield Road. Pat Murphy.
Gone to Coventry, scored by Robbie Keane. A shot from Haji outside of the box. Sorensen, the keeper, didn't gather it cleanly. Typical poacher. Keane there like a flash. Coventry 1, Sunderland 0.
Sunderland, who came from 2-0 down this day last week to draw 2-2 with Newcastle in the Tyne Weir derby at the Stadium of Light. Manchester United in possession with Silvestre. Infield to Stam. Stam back to the Frenchman on the far side, still inside the Manchester half. Chip towards Cole. Sticks over Cole's head and is cleared by Hughes. Hughes towards the halfway line. Sheringham heads it down. Irwin quickly across. Firm challenge by Barton, and the ball's out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in to Newcastle United, who still, despite the revival, David, under Bobby Robson, a substantial revival under Bobby Robson, they only 4 points clear of the relegation zone.
Yeah, I think you would expect Newcastle to be safe ultimately at the end, but it is a little bit close, and given all the plaudits that Bobby Robson was picking up, it is a little bit tight down there.
Gallagher a little high with his foot on the challenge of Gary Neville, and despite the protests of the Newcastle fans, it's a free kick to Manchester United. 3.5 minutes played, Newcastle 0, Manchester United 0, and you're listening to BBC 5 Live, Sport on 5. Brighton 0, Plymouth 1, scoreline from elsewhere. A long way from here, and probably a good deal warmer on the south coast. Here's Speed. Speed's pass just about reaches Gallagher. Gallagher quickly to Hughes, up from left back, over the halfway line, near touchline. He's now midway inside the Manchester half. Turns the ball onto his right foot, and a terrible cross, blocked by Keane, but it rebounds to Newcastle's possession. Here's Gary Speed. That's a better ball. Into Shearer towards Gallagher. Gary Neville's there first and concedes the corner.
First piece of excitement in the game. It's certainly come at the end of a piece of work by Newcastle, where they look quite in control, and perhaps linking also very well. It's a neat ball in by Shearer. A little bit too far ahead of Gallagher, but it wasn't meant to get there.
Through off on the Newcastle left. Dyer will take it. Right-footed. Drilled towards the near post. It was poor. Beckham lashed it away and takes a return pass from Giggs. Beckham again. Excellent crossfield ball to Keane. Now Cole's to his left, and Manchester United counter-attacking. Scholes line through the inside right channel. The ball's down with Andy Cole, from a Newcastle player. Being booed. Right foot across from him. Weak, but it still finds Giggs. Courtesy of a deflection. Now Scholes. Scholes plays the ball in low, and it's scooped over the crossbar by Teddy Sheringham, was it? Yes. Just over the crossbar, behind for a goal kick.
Yes, and City's on fire. It's gone to Manchester City. Came on 2 minutes. Kennett is on fire down the left wing. He skinned his fullback touch. It was a picture goal. The high cross, and Goethe headed in at the far post. That must be £5, but it's a glorious goal. City
can afford it.
Thanks, Stuart.
Well, let's make a change for somebody else to make him laugh. Newcastle 0, Manchester United 0, and Manchester City a goal up at Main Road. Throw into Manchester United. Neville to take it. Beckham's made the early run, but Neville's throw wasn't anywhere near David Beckham, and it's cleared away, left-footed by Helder out of play. But they've moved forward another 30 yards, Manchester United. 6 minutes played. 0-0 at St James's Park. Neville throws it into the penalty. Keane heads it up. Cole is back to goal. Tries the overhead kick. And then, I thought that was a back pass in the end towards the goalkeeper Harper, but presumably it must have been off Andy Cole's foot, David.
Yeah, I also thought it was off Helder's foot. It looked like he was volleying towards his own goal, but well, it was a nice break by David Beckham. He was going berserk at Gary Neville.
He's still telling him off.
The throw was terrible. I mean, it was ingenious the way he just came in. Swift turn, and he was into so much space. The throw was awfully delivered.
I'm just reminded of somewhere that's bound to be colder than here. Oldham 0, Gillingham 1.
It's always cold at Oldham. They've got a wind machine at Oldham.
Oh dear. Free kick to Newcastle. 3 yards over the halfway line. Down this near side of the field, that's the Newcastle left in the first half. Aaron Hughes hits it, right-footed. High towards Ferguson. Stand with him. Ferguson heads it down. Sure is there, but he was just impeded by the presence of Sebastian. The ball's knocked back into the Manchester penalty area, and out comes Bostic. Catches well and clears quickly. Left-footed over the halfway line. Elder wasn't sure where that ball was drifting in the wind, but heads it back into Manchester territory. And then there looked like a foul by Dyer on Irwin. Not given. Dyer's in on Irwin again. Irwin wins. Dyer gets into the interception. Good play by Kieran Dyer. And it's flicked forward. Ferguson chases after it. Stand there and stand very carefully. Side push the ball to Silvestre, who gets himself in trouble, does he? Keane helps out. Back to Stam, and Stam hurries the clearance to the far side. Encouragement for Newcastle. Gallagher. Back to Hughes, edge of the centre circle. And now Davizas, right-footed, forward. Ferguson the favourite, chests it down to Speed. And now Dyer, a couple of yards outside the penalty, crosses into the box. Stam heads it clear. Robert Lee waits for it. Heads it high. Speed heads it down. Oh, foul by Speed on Scholes. According to the referee, Stephen Lodgy, you get the feeling that the Newcastle fans didn't agree with the decision. Manchester United free kick, taken quickly. Cole's on the end of it. He's being booed. He's down the Newcastle penalty. Right-footed cross. Behind Beckham, who's wearing gloves. He's goaled as well. David Beckham, well, he'll be booed even more than Andy Cole, but he gets the cross towards the penalty area. Davizas heads it clear. Scholes heads it back. Sheringham jumps, heads it down. And it's all over the place at the moment, this ball. Keane now, back into his own half. And it's a little bit frantic, David.
Yeah, very, very anxious. Good break again by Manchester United, but the ball in from Cole. His option was Sheringham, really, who was a little bit closer to him, and he did ultimately try and find that longer ball out to the right-hand side, and a good opportunity went to waste.
9 minutes played. Newcastle 0, Manchester United 0.
Leeds Spurs, Ian Brown.
0-0 here as well. Walker in the Tottenham goal has been pretty busy so far, saving at the feet of Bowyer and dealing easily with a snapshot from Smith. Spurs, though, have had their moments, notably on a breakaway. Sherwood's lob, though, was well off target. It remains 0-0.
London derby at Stamford Bridge. Here's Ron Jones.
A 0-0 so far in bright sunshine, but the game yet to settle down. It's been a little bit scrappy, a little bit stop-start. We had a long injury to Emerson Tome, which didn't help matters, and no chances to either side so far. 0-0.
How's Dan Collymore started at Leicester? Dave Woods.
We've seen a couple of glimpses in a game that's still 0-0 after 10 minutes. Collymore with a chance inside the area in the 3rd minute, but he hit his shot straight at the keeper. And then in the 7th minute, a long-range effort that went 30 yards over. The best Leicester chance, though, a moment ago, Walsh's free kick. Heskey's knocked down, and Tony Crotty got behind the defence only to volley straight at the keeper. 0-0.
Oldham have just equalised against Gillingham. It's 1-1. Pat Murphy at Coventry Sunderland.
Still 1-0 for Coventry. That's Robbie Keane's 11th goal of the season for Coventry. A typical goal from Keane. Sorensen, the keeper, didn't hold the free kick from Hashi. He was in quicker than anybody else. Some of these gone in late on a tackle and Froggatt back after prolonged treatment. I think somebody might be a marked man by the Coventry fans and players from now on. Coventry 1, Sunderland 0.
Everton Derby, Peter Slater.
0-0. Derby have come to attack. Kincladze busy in midfield. Big stop-start there. Entry to Craig Burley. He went off on a stretcher. He's now back. And Mark Poem in the Derby goal made one flying-headed clearance. There's also an annoying carrier bag blowing about the pitch in a strong wind. Wish somebody would clear it. It's 0-0 here.
It's come from Summerfields. John Murray.
It's Sheffield Wednesday 0, Southampton 0 after 10 minutes of Hillsborough. I got the feeling there will be goals in this match between these two. There's been a chance apiece so far. Tessam shot too close to the goalkeeper for Southampton, while Alexanderson, with an attempted chip, had it saved by Jones. And Southampton are playing 5-3-2, the way Glenn Huddle likes it. 0-0.
And West Ham Brentford, Steve Lee.
West Ham 0, Bradford 0, and bad news for the Harrods keeper. Shaka Hislop has already been carried off with what looks like a knee injury. He made a clearance when Dean Saunders chased the ball, so he's off. Stephen Bywater, the Hammers' number 3 keeper, makes his debut. We had a delay of 3 minutes for that. We've had Frank Lampard in the book already. He's been yellow carded for a challenge of Stuart McCall.
Third division leaders Rotherham are in front at York. Leo Fortune West, 12th of the season. Let's go to Charlton Wolves in Division 1. Steve Tongue.
0-0 in the South London sunshine. Wolves were very quick out of the traps in the first 45 seconds. Akin Bayi had a header block for a corner from which Sedgley shot wide, but Charlton have been doing the attacking since then. 0-0.
Well, Stuart Hall has the only goal so far in Division 1. Stuart?
It's still the same. It's Manchester 1, Norwich 0.
In the conference, Sport on 5's interest in Dover has led to crowd congestion. Dover rushed and delayed by 10 minutes. Roddy Forsyth in Scotland at Dundee Celtic.
It's still goalless here, and we've had a little fly-back in the first play. Down was fouling to Dundee by putting Falconer through. It really only wanted a tap, and he put just a little too much work on the ball past the post, and immediately Celtic replied with Lee Wilkie having to block right at the other end. I can also give you a bit of news, by the way, if you're interested in Dunfermline Morton. That game looks as though it might be off. They've cleared the pitch of snow.
This one's for Pat Murphy.
Another goal for Coventry. They lead 2-0. Mustafa Haji, the scorer, he created the first one, scored by Keane. This time a corner flicked on by Gary Breen at the far post. Haji rolled it in. Coventry 2, Sunderland 0.
Bristol Rovers, second in Division 2. A one-up on Scunthorpe. Mark Walters with the goal. It's Exeter 0, Darlington 1 in Division 3, and Stenhouse Muir 1, Stranraer 1 in the Scottish Second Division. Latest racing results, Haydock 2:45.
We've played a quarter of an hour in the tail of the two Uniteds. Newcastle 0, Manchester 0. Ferguson for Newcastle. Back to Gallagher, 25 yards out, snapshot, but Bosnich was able to watch that one go past his right hand upright. It's all too quick, David Fairclough.
It is. I mean, that was a weak effort. I don't think the shot was really on for Gallagher there. It was neatly played in. I think a tutor ball, perhaps, beyond the Manchester United defence might have been a better option, but it was never going to threaten Bosnich. But we've certainly seen United break with great poise on the counter-attack. Cole, Sheringham and Beckham all figuring in the breaks, and Keane also trying to get in there to support in the last few minutes.
Yes, I'm as guilty as you are. To ward off any complaints, let's face it, Newcastle are normally known as Newcastle, and Manchester United are known as United. So we slip into that. Just forgive us. We're trying to be fair. 0-0 here at St James's Park. Held there for Newcastle to Lee. Lee almost caught possession by Scholes, but holds off the England player. Plays it back to Davizas, and Davizas a little awkwardly back to his goalkeeper Harper. Come in, Stuart Hall again.
Yes, indeed, Norwich have equalised. It came from number 9, Ewan Roberts. It came direct from a set piece. It's Norwich's first attack. It was a lovely in-swinging corner, straight to the heart of City's penalty box, and there was Ewan Roberts. Marvellous header. Time 15 minutes. It's Manchester 1, Norwich 1.
Thank you. And it's still 0 here. And the floodlights are on. Heaven knows why. Because there's clear blue sky overhead. It's actually a lovely afternoon if it wasn't so cold.
Considering, it's always a bit blowy. David Beckham's got his gloves on, but nobody else has got any gloves on, so...
Well, it's just a fresh excuse for the crowd to give him abuse, basically.
Yeah.
It's terrible. He still gets awful flack wherever he goes, David.
This is a great pity, because he's a great footballer.
It's fantastic, I agree. Ball is with Newcastle, and their left full-back Hughes. Not a great clearance for him, but it skips over the halfway line, and then speed jumps all over Keane to head the ball towards Shearer, who flicks it infield, but only to Irwin. Irwin lashes it upfield, one bounce, and straight through to Steve Harper. Bobby Robson and Sir Alex Ferguson, I'm sure, have a lot of mutual respect, sitting in the two dugouts in front of us. Robson, we hear, will be sitting down to discuss a new contract within a fortnight at Newcastle. Sylvester, left-footed clearance from the edge of the Manchester penalty area, and Barton jumps and heads it straight out of play on the far side.
Despite the quality on the pitch, still some of the passing is a little bit off.
The ball forward, Beckham inviting the goal in. Beckham hit it half-volleyed over the crossbar, and that was a good opportunity. The ball was sitting up very nicely for him.
I think the lunging challenge, though, of Aaron Hughes really put him off. It wasn't as easy as perhaps it first looked. I think the jeers were more of relief than of anything else, because with Beckham bearing down on goal, you'd have expected him to make at least threaten the goal, but I think that lunge from Hughes certainly put him off.
The ball's inside the penalty area. Ferguson falls over, and the referee says it's a foul against Duncan Ferguson, who is sure not to approve. And Gallagher and Shearer and Speed all tell Stephen Rhodes that he's wrong.
I think they're going to have a great battle this afternoon. Obviously, in the air, Ferguson will be more of a threat. On the ground, Stan looks to have the match of Ferguson, and indeed I thought he used his body well there to beat off the challenge from Ferguson. But ultimately, once Stan went to ground, Ferguson looked to have made a fair challenge, and I wouldn't have said the decision should have gone against Newcastle, certainly.
Sheringham has the ball towards Giggs, and that was an important divert away by Barton. But Manchester have it again on the halfway line. Scholes to Sylvester, who rather screws the pass upfield, but it runs to Cole. Cole leaning back on Helder, and then falls over and looks for a free kick. Meantime, the pass back into the goalkeeper, Harper, and Harper's clearance into the centre circle. Ferguson to Shearer, but Shearer can't control the ball. It's an awkward one to take, and Manchester United have it back. Irvin to Sylvester. The natives are restless. Sylvester, left-footed ball towards the right flank. Great control by Beckham. First touch infield to Sheringham, taken up by Gary Neville. Scholes, and now Keane. Good movement from the champions. Scholes again, and now Sheringham. Deep and always difficult to pick up. Giggs on the call. Back heel towards Giggs. Barton clears and had to clear, but only to Irwin on the far side. Manchester United going through a good little spell here. Forward to Giggs. Giggs flicked the ball infield and kept control. Exchanges passes, and now Cole. Cole to the left, and Roy Keane, the captain, close to the corner flag. Turns the ball onto his right foot. Scholes has stayed deep. Great pass from Keane. Straight to Scholes. Scholes didn't control it immediately. Back it goes to Gary Neville. And now Beckham. Beckham forced to retreat. And now Beckham, well, I hope that was had nothing to do with the booze that greeted him, but it was a poor ball forward from Beckham. Well, Coventry were 2-0 up at Highfield Road. Pat Murphy.
They now lead 3-0. Cedric Roussel, the scorer. Sunderland's defence shockingly parted obligingly. Haji and Roussel almost got in each other's way before Roussel finished it off. Coventry 3, Sunderland 0.
Might be a thrashing.
It's on the cards.
Might be. 0-0 here at St James's Park between Newcastle United and Manchester United. Lee forward. Sylvester clears up over the halfway line, and there's no red shirt there. Leicester 10, Newcastle 14. That's in rugby union, of course. Back to football. Macclesfield 1, Barnet 0. Grimsby 1, Port Vale 0.
Obviously a Macclesfield fan nearby.
That's all. That's all. Just because I live in the area. Helder up to the halfway line, and lifts the pass towards the edge of the Manchester penalty area. Simple clearance by Neville to Keane, and back to Beckham, and Beckham sees the early run for Sheringham and hits it long, a little too long, straight through to Harper.
Not a type of ball, really. I don't think that Sheringham wants a long ball like that, and certainly coming in that angle, there wasn't a great deal. I don't think that Sheringham could have done with it had he got on to the end of it.
No. Cole, yes, not Sheringham.
No, most definitely.
Sylvester to Neville. Neville with a pass back to his goalkeeper. Bosnich waits, and then makes a complete hash of the clearance. Straight into the crowd.
Dreadful clearance. I mean, please, the Newcastle fans. Bosnich's not renowned for his kicking ability, and Neville put him under a little bit of pressure. He didn't have...
Gallagher left-footed volley. Cross into the penalty area, and the way that swirled in, it almost caught Bosnich out, who was expecting a high ball towards Ferguson or Shearer, and in fact, it was more like a shot in the end. I'm sure it wasn't meant, but it was more like a shot.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he's presumed that the ball was going to the far post, but Gallagher perhaps didn't catch it as cleanly as he might have done, and it almost fooled Bosnich, falling short of him.
Here's Duncan Ferguson for Newcastle to Kevin Gallagher, and Gallagher running down the left side. Pass to Ferguson. Ferguson's ball to Hughes was short, and Beckham working ferociously hard, as always. Intercepts from Manchester United, and now he's at the heart of a counter-attack until he's tackled well by Gary Speed, and it's out of play for a Manchester throw-in, which Beckham wants to take quickly. You know, when people praise Beckham, it tends to be for his set-piece deliveries and his and his shots. Not for the work rate, but no one works harder for this Manchester United side. Here he is again, Beckham, right side of the penalty, falling cross into the penalty area and cleared behind by Davies-Ass.
He's a terrific player, Beckham. He's got so much energy and his delivery is excellent. Another dangerous ball in there, but at the end of maybe a 50-60 yard run to get on the end of that ball. United are looking pretty ominous when they break with so much purpose. A lot of speed up there, perhaps just not accuracy for the final pass.
Beckham's corner to the near post and headed away comfortably in the end by Shearer, out of play. Now, there's been a goal at Ellen Road, commentary from Ian Brown.
Here's Kuehl, he's onside, he's round the goalkeeper who's outside his penalty area. Campbell is trying to cover, but Kuehl is in to score the goal for Leeds United. Walker is stranded on the edge of his penalty area as Tottenham look to the linesman, but a cool finish by Harry Kuehl, and the Australian has pushed Leeds United into the lead. After 23 minutes, it's Leeds 1, Tottenham 0.
Silvestre clears to Giggs. Giggs back to Silvestre, left-footed clearance from the Frenchman over the halfway line. Helder heads it back into Manchester territory. Scholes waiting for the ball to drop, but it drops to Barton. Barton's flick on, none too productive. Irwin clears, and Cole is after it. And Cole corrects it well for Manchester United. Beckham lurking 5 yards behind him. Back to Beckham. Forward to Cole again. Beckham once more. Great shot into the penalty. Terrific tackle by Kevin Gallagher. And if he had mistimed that ever so slightly, that was going to be a penalty.
Great work by Gallagher. I thought Beckham had just got that edge on Gallagher, was just going to get the ball down to make room for the shot, but vital lunge, and it cleared it up for Newcastle.
You're listening to Sport on 5 on BBC 5 Live. Newcastle 0, Manchester United 0. We've got 20 minutes left in the first half. Gallagher for Newcastle. Dyer to his right, but ignored. Hughes is to his left. Gallagher still has the ball. Back it goes to Speed. Ferguson just on the edge of the D. Speed lays it to the right, and the full-back Barton on the far side. Barton infield to Lee. Lee chips it forward immediately. Shearer heads it down. Ferguson, left-foot volley! What a goal! What a goal from Brendan Ferguson! One of the goals of the season! Brilliantly left-footed from outside the penalty area. Bosnich dive, couldn't get anywhere near it. Fantastic. Newcastle 1, Manchester United 0. Duncan Ferguson.
Nice break by Newcastle. They were quite calm in their build-up. Fans got a little bit frustrated, perhaps, that Speed didn't give the ball to Dyer when he presented himself. Instead, Speed invited Barton to make a little bit of ground down the right-hand side. That was a better option. Barton's ball was well flicked on by Shearer, and out of nothing, Ferguson just swept it in with his left foot. I think it has caught Bosnich a little bit by surprise, but it really went in well close to that corner of the goal. A terrific goal.
Yes, it really was. Excellent. It'll be a match of the day. Watch it. Here's Andy Cole, scorer of a fantastic goal last weekend against Coventry. But, was he? No, he wasn't offside, was he?
A little bit of a tug on Davies-Ass, but United perhaps a little bit frustrated. Cole frustrated more than most at the moment. He actually hasn't found he hasn't settled into the game, certainly, as quite as much as maybe Beckham or Keane, who are figuring in a lot of the good Manchester United work.
Well, that goal will have been greeted with wonderful enthusiasm at Ellen Road and by the supporters of Arsenal and Liverpool. Their teams don't play until tomorrow at Highbury, and of course you'll hear that on 5 Live. Mistake by Gary Neville. Gallagher right-footed, hurried volley right-footed, wide of goal, behind for a goal kick. 27 minutes played then. Ferguson has scored. Newcastle 1, Manchester United 0.
And there's a goal at Goodison, Peter Slater.
And it came from the first decent move of the match. It's been scored by Everton. 2 lovely passes. First Barnby to Pembridge, then Pembridge to Joe Maxmore, right edge of the penalty area, and he finished in style, the American, for his 4th senior goal for Everton. It's Everton 1, Derby County 0.
And a goal at Hillsborough, John Murray.
Sheffield Wednesday 0, Southampton 1, and Jo Tessem has scored for Southampton. The Norwegian stretching at the near post, centre shot looping over Pavel Cernicek. The ball in from the right from Matthew Oakley. Jo Tessem's goal. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Southampton 1.
So could it be a chance for Leeds? They're at home to Spurs. Ian Brown.
And they lead by 1-0. Harry Kewell into double figures for the season after slotting the ball in past Sol Campbell with goal.
For Sheffield Wednesday. He was fouled by Jones, the Southampton keeper. Here comes the builder. Jones makes the save. Great save. Diving to his right, one-handed, pushed it round the post, and Southampton still lead by 1-0.
If you want to catch Ferguson's goal on the telly tonight, catch that save. BBC One, 10:30. Let's go to Dave Woods at Watford-Leicester.
Where it's 0-0, Leicester might have scored a moment ago. Emil Heskey with a header that was cleared off the line by Robert Page, but Watford have been playing some bright football, especially from Nordin Wouter. At their midfield man who had a 25-yard shot parried away by Tim Flowers in the Leicester goal. 0-0.
West Ham-Bradford. Steve Lee.
West Ham 0, Bradford 0, all good blood and thunder stuff. Bradford tackling and chasing hard and generally not allowing West Ham to string their intricate patterns together. Oh, we've just had a goal there from Bradford, and it's Dean Saunders from the corner, 1-0. Yes, Doc Saunders is getting the congratulations.
Cheers, Steve. Thanks for that instant action on Sport on 5. As always, let's head to the Valley. Steve Tongue.
0-0 between Charlton and Wolves. Good contest. Wolves have had a lot of corners, and Akinbaye has been lively, though his team have lost Andy Sinton injured. Pringle wasted Charlton's most promising moment. A poor pass in the penalty area to Stewart, who would surely have scored. Charlton 0, Wolves 0.
And to Main Road, Stuart Hall.
It's still Manchester 1, Norwich 1.
4 months since Burnley last won away. They're leading at Bournemouth 1-0, and Stoke lead bottom side Cambridge United by 1-0. Back to Alan Green at St James's Park.
Lee's free kick, chipped towards the Manchester goal, drops towards Gallagher. His volley is blocked, and it's cleared by Manchester United. Out of play, no. Just now it is out of play. And it's going to be a throw to Manchester United on the far side. 12 minutes to half-time. Newcastle lead 1-0 through Duncan Ferguson's goal and David Fairclough. It almost went 2-0 a few minutes ago.
Yeah, that cross from Dyer taking a little bit of deflection and fooling Bosnich again. Just luckily came off the post, and when Ferguson turned the ball back into the centre, Shearer couldn't get a clean connection on it. So that was a lucky let-off for United. But Newcastle United look pretty good when they're going forward, and when they bring Ferguson to play and he's dropping it off for one or two of the others to pick up, United have to react quickly and get bodies in the way.
Well, we just had further evidence of this new leniency of the referees. Much of it we welcome, but Keane clattered into Dyer. Without question, it would have been a yellow card a fortnight ago. Stephen Lodge, the referee, made a big play of telling Keane off, but didn't produce a card.
Well, Keane was adamant that he's made a legitimate challenge. You know, he did catch him, but it is good to see referees use a little bit of common sense.
I agree. I don't think the Newcastle fans agreed, though.
No, they did. Well, I mean, they're a passionate crowd, and they're up off the seats at every chance.
Here's Dyer to Ferguson. Speed running down the right, but the ball goes left to Gallagher, and Hughes is in support of Gallagher. Gallagher 25 yards out, moves in field, plays it to Ferguson. Back to Dyer. Where's Shearer? Looming towards the far side of the penalty. Ball played in. Ferguson heads it on. Reaches Barton. Angles acute. Barton shoots. Hits Irwin's backside and rebounds to Giggs. And Giggs is immediately hustled by Kevin Gallagher. What a work rate he goes through.
Gallagher's been everywhere. He's just coming down the left-hand side of the field, and now he's over there on the right-hand side. We've seen him sweeping up challenges in his own box as well. He's having a particularly good afternoon.
As are Newcastle, 10 minutes to half-time. Newcastle lead 1-0. Manchester United have the ball, though. Giggs then tackled out of it. And it's with Gallagher. Gallagher running in field. A little lazily, robbed of it by Giggs. And here's Beckham. Beckham still inside his own half, and then caresses the ball to Cole. Nice touch by Cole infield to Sheringham. Sheringham back towards Beckham, but it took a deflection, and Newcastle had the ball again. Dyer, left side for a change for Newcastle. He's all right foot, so he's moving where he feels comfortably. Inside. And now it's to Gallagher. Gallagher, right-footed shot over the crossbar. Bosnich had it covered.
Yeah, he had it well covered, always going over the target. Reasonable idea by Gallagher. United were fairly settled in front of him. Shearer going to his right and Ferguson to his left, but decided to have that little bit of a dip, but it was always pretty flatly hit going over the bar.
Just as I look to the left, you see this new tier of arising high, so high that, it must be like watching the video when you finally get a season ticket up there.
It will be. I mean, it's very unlike the San Siro Stadium in Milan, but I don't know. I think I'd like to view a game up there. I would agree.
Too far away. Anyway, it's West Ham against Bradford. Steve Lee.
And West Ham have equalised. West Ham 1, Bradford 1.
And it's inside the Manchester half, right of the centre circle. And Lee's going to leave it for Hell there. And everyone bar Harper inside Manchester territory. Helder, right-footed towards the left side. Speed jumps, deflects it on with his head, but straight out of play for a throw into Manchester United.
Yeah, Speed's good with his head, but really he wasn't the best target there. Ball from Helder was giving Speed very little option to do anything with. It was always going to be a bit of a battle for him to get it back into the centre of the goal of the Manchester United area.
Davizas heads it forward. Stam is there before Gallagher. Turns, plays it back to Bosnich, and we'll have a rugby union update from Alistair Hignall.
What a fantastic finish here at Northampton. Northampton 19, Bristol 23. No, so
Lee to Dyer with room down the right flank. Had time to drill the cross in, but Keane got across there very quickly and blocked it with his body. Rebounds out of play, throw into Newcastle. Level the edge of the Manchester penalty area. Barton throws to Dyer. It was a good throw. Dyer had the stretch and still couldn't make contact with that. Keane runs it away to the champions. Keane infield to Scholes. Beckham, arms outstretched. Appeals for the pass and gets the pass. Beckham, forward to Sheringham. Oh! The Lions had thought about that for half an hour and finally raised his strike, but no dissent from Sheringham, so presumably he knew offside.
I thought he was offside, but ultimately once the ball had got to Sheringham, there were a couple of Newcastle players that retrieved into their space and obviously looked then onside, but no doubt about it was. It was a very late decision though.
Stam heads the Newcastle free kick away. Beckham's serve was just a little high, and the referee blows. Free kick. A goal at Watford, Dave Woods.
It's Watford 0, Leicester 1. A real calamity at the back for Watford. Have been playing some bright stuff up to that. Matt Elliott with a goal.
Who have got this free kick. Hughes from around about 45 yards. Well, it was going to be Hughes with a free kick. Now Dyer's come across. It's nevertheless about 40 yards from the Manchester United goal occupied by Bosnich. Dyer seats it in right-footed. Speed heads it down. Stam stretches. Tries to lift it away. Davies is up there. Back to Ferguson. Ferguson shoots. And it deflects off Stam away to safety. Out of play for a throw-in.
Well, certainly that was why Dyer came over to take the ball. The delivery was excellent. Davies had made the run up and he got a good head on it. Unfortunately, Ferguson couldn't get a full connection on it. Manchester United again able to clear the danger through Stam.
And Newcastle completely wasted the throw-in. But it's an uncomfortable first half now for Manchester United because just before that goal went in from Duncan Ferguson, David Fairclough, I thought Manchester United had taken control of the game.
Yeah, I think it's to and fro the game. United were looking a lot more comfortable. Newcastle come back, hit them with the goal, and since I think Newcastle have been in control really, they looked more confident, and they have certainly grown with a lot more confidence since that goal.
And there's a bit of bite about the Newcastle performance as well.
Very much so. I think one or two of the United players now perhaps not winning as many balls as they were early on. Sheringham actually has looked a little bit off, and Cole's not seen as much of the ball either.
Irwin beaten in the air by Shearer, who has been very quiet, Shearer. Shearer's header finds Dyer. On to Gallagher. Gallagher gets there, stands across. Now it's forward to Dyer. And there are two Newcastle players waiting for the cross. Great run forward by Hughes, but Dyer couldn't get the ball in, and all he's got is a throw-in.
Yeah, and there were two Newcastle players on. Hughes well at the far post and Ferguson in there. Dyer his option might have been to take control of the ball and even take Stam on. A little bit intimidated perhaps by Stam's presence.
The throw-in. Back to Lee. Lee tries to cross. Blocked by Scholes. Appeals for handball not given. Gallagher for Newcastle. And now Hughes, 30 yards out. To Gallagher. Gallagher to Speed. Speed back to Rob Lee. And Lee now, right-footed towards Ferguson. Stam doesn't get that header correctly. Sylvester, circle the clear. Shot! Speed should have scored. Had to be 2-0. It's only 1-0.
He had to hit the target. That little bit of wind causing a problem for Manchester United as the ball came in. Seemed to hang up a little bit. Didn't make it easy for Sylvester to really fully clear his lines. And it was a feeble header in the end. And I think everybody expected Speed to just volley it direct into the net, and I don't know how close it was. It couldn't have been far away.
I was waiting for the bulge.
Very much so.
Not there though. Here's Gallagher for Newcastle, who are finishing this first half very strongly. But Beckham for Manchester United over the halfway line. Good pass infield to Sheringham. Left for Cole. On towards Sheringham again. It wasn't a good return pass from Cole, and Newcastle clear. Dyer inside the centre circle. Dyer now running to the right, and now he turns infield again. Lays it back to Speed. Barton's available on the far side. First time pass from Speed to Barton. Barton on to Shearer, and Shearer away from Sylvester. Crosses the ball into the penalty area, and Scholes headed behind for a corner.
Well, certainly what the Newcastle fans want, Newcastle getting the ball into the Manchester United penalty area. The delivery wasn't that great, really. It was a token cross, if anything. and Scholes really didn't have many options, but it wasn't really a dangerous ball in.
Newcastle certainly creating the better chances. Leading 1-0. And with a corner, 4 minutes to half-time. There's the ball in, and there's a diving header up over the crossbar from Alan Shearer.
That's a better effort. It was a difficult ball to take. The ball has just cleared 1 or 2 heads in there. Shearer's obviously been alive and has dived as it immediately dropped over the header, I think, of Silvestre, and couldn't have been far away either.
3 minutes to half-time now, and they're rushing out for the pies. And we've got no chance, because once you sit down in these seats, you don't leave until after the game.
Oh, we're well trapped.
Leicester 22, Newcastle 14. That's a half-time in rugby union. Ferguson for the football Newcastle. Scorer of Newcastle's goal. Heads the ball back to Speed. Speed to Dar. Dar tried to let it run to Lee on the far side. It was back to Barton. Excellent first-time ball from Warren Barton. And now Robert Lee's got it. Lee, early cross into the penalty area. Under hit. Cleared easily by Silvestre. And Keane outside the Manchester penalty area. Forward to Sheringham. Sheringham can't find Giggs. Barton again, running down the right. Dar's behind him and Barton turns back, but suddenly Dar's marked. So it's infield instead to Lee. Oh, Lee gives the ball away. Sheringham onto Cole over the halfway line. Edge of the centre circle to Beckham. Shit towards Andy Cole again. Cole heads it on. Davizas stretches, flicks it away right-footed. Beckham collects though. And he's got Neville behind him. But he didn't want Neville initially. Now he plays the ball to his England colleague. And here's another England player. Scholes inside the centre circle towards Giggs. Barton helped divert it away and Helder clears, and Shearer jumps straight into Irwin. That looked like a foul, not given. Ball to Speed. Speed lifts it towards Dar. Irwin across first, and the veteran hooks it away to play.
I'm grateful to just be able to get a foot on it and clear away that danger from Dyer, who has been a little bit of a threat down the right-hand side. A bit surprised, though, to see Dyer not take on Irwin quite as much as perhaps he might do sometimes when he isolates Dennis Irwin down there.
Is that Shearer with Silvestre on the far side. Keane gets involved as well, and the ball's out of play, despite the protest of Roy Keane to the linesman. It's a throw into Newcastle United. And hold on a second. I think Keane might be in trouble here, because the linesman's now calling Stephen Lodge across. And this will be a booking for Roy Keane. And that is definitely for dissent.
Well, it's unusual these days, really, to see Roy Keane get involved in situations like that. I think generally this season he's shown a greater maturity, or even over the last couple of years, certainly shown a lot of maturity as the captain. And
at St James's Park, Newcastle leading 1-0. Newcastle take the throw-in after the yellow card for Keane. Ball's playing weakly, and Beckham collects easily. A yard outside his penalty area. Cole's ahead of him on the halfway line. It's infield to Keane, who's been booed, of course, now, inevitably. Keane to Scholes. Scholes to Keane again. Keane rushing through. Oh, and if he'd taken the ball with him, he was right through the defence, but he couldn't quite. And it's Rob Lee. And that's an excellent ball to Shearer. Shearer takes it inside to Beckham. Shearer on to Ferguson in the penalty area. Left-footed shot streams over the crossbar.
Right move, great run by Ferguson. It didn't really look favourite in a situation with Stam, but the ball just held up again, I think, on the wind. I think that was a little bit of good fortune for him. Wasn't able to actually get his head over the ball and keep it on target. And had he done so, I think he might have been on for another goal.
Well, one's enough at the moment for Newcastle. Finishing very strongly in this first half, but it's not finished this first half. And what do you think, David Farquhar?
A very good first half, a little bit untidy at times, but as the game wore on, it was certainly Newcastle who have dominated the half, looked good for their one-goal lead. United started off well, looked bright on the counter-attack, but perhaps that threat has faded slightly as the half has worn on. I think Sheringham and Cole perhaps struggling really to find good form.
Remember that Beckham half volley, which I suggested was a half chance? That's the only chance that Manchester United had in the first half. It's been all Newcastle in terms of goal opportunities, and at the end of it, it's Newcastle 1, Manchester United 0.
The Premiership exclusive to 5 Live.
And let's head to the team in second place in the Premiership, Leeds at home to Spurs. Ian Brown.
And a bubbly atmosphere here. They've heard that half-time news from Newcastle, and here Leeds are 1-0 up on Tottenham at half-time. The goal came on 23 minutes. Harry Kewell swiveled past goalkeeper Walker, who'd mistimed his rush off the line, and despite the presence of Campbell covering, Kewell touched the ball away with real accomplishment, with Tottenham forlornly appealing for offside. The lively Smith has had a trio of chances to make it 2-0 for Leeds, including one low shot which was just inches away. Spurs are short of firepower and ideal years, to be honest. They've had 3 players booked and they trail Leeds 1-0.
A late first half goal at Upton Park. Steve Lee.
And it's now West Ham 2, Bradford 1, and after a first half in which Bradford have fought valiantly and went ahead through Dean Windass, John Moncur has now put West Ham 2-1 in the lead, and that was after Trevor Sinclair had equalised. 2-1 to West Ham, a few minutes short of half-time.
Gets a few chances these days, Moncur, but he's on the score sheet. Dave Woods at Vicarage Road.
Well, it's Watford 0, Leicester 1. Matt Elliott hooking in a simple goal in the end of the 39th minute, and a few moments before that, Emil Hesketh had a header cleared off the line. But apart from that, it's a high scoreline for Watford, who played some bright football in the first half, especially their midfielder Nordin Wirtz, who's been out for 2 months, his first start in 2 months, and he's been showing the Watford fans what they've been missing. But his side are trailing. It's Watford 0, Leicester 1.
And more goal action. Peter Slater.
Just had a penalty to Everton in the final minute of the 3 minutes of time added on. It was for a foul on Richard Gough in the penalty area. Michael Ball took it, scored with ease. It'll be half-time any second now, and that will make it Everton 2, Derby County 0. The first goal in the 24th minute after Everton's best move of the half. That was when Barnby found Pembridge. He picked out Joe Maxmore, whose finish was excellent from the right corner of the box. It's all been a bit hard on Derby. They've come to attack. They perhaps shaded the game until that first goal. Their best effort 7 minutes before the end of the game, end of the first half rather. A Ranio shot turned around the post by Thomas Murray. We're playing the last seconds of the half, and it's Everton 2, Derby County 0.
2 more sides struggling near the foot of the table. Sheffield Wednesday, Southampton. John Murray.
It's Sheffield Wednesday 0, Southampton 1. Joel Tessum the scorer after 26 minutes. A stretching, looping shot of a Cernicek from 8 yards out. But Paul Jones in the Southampton goal has been the man of the first half. A wonderful full-length penalty save from De Bilde just 3 minutes after the goal, and 6 other saves besides from the Welsh number 1. If it stays like this, Southampton will be 12 points above Wednesday tonight, but don't count against the big more goals in this one. Half-time though, Wednesday 0, Southampton 1.
And the first half goals just keep on coming. Steve Lee at Upton Park again.
Well, they keep flooding in here. It's now West Ham 2, Bradford 2, and Peter Beagrie, who's been outstanding for Bradford in this half, has just equalised from the penalty spot. We're in extra time, of course, because of that injury to Shaka Hislop, and the Bradford fans are delighted. It's 2-2, and referee Neil Barry has just blown the half-time whistle.
And the whistle's just gone at Goodison as well to confirm Everton have a 2-0 lead over Derby at the break. What about Chelsea-Wimbledon at Stamford Bridge? Rodden Jones.
It's 0-0 at half-time, but it's been pretty ordinary stuff, it has to be said. Chelsea have hardly got their game together, no real fluency, and very few clear-cut chances created. The best of them probably falling to Sutton, who broke clear on the left-hand side, but his shot, and really it summarises his arrival at Chelsea, I suppose, almost hit the corner flag. It was that bad. Andreas Lund had one good chance. He's the new man, the Norwegian international in the Wimbledon lineup. He put a header wide, but also got booked on his debut for a foul on the Burf. Half-time 0-0.
And it's half-time at the Valley in Division 1. Steve Tongue.
No goals, but it's been lively all over the pitch. Wolves, who've lost Andy Sinton injured, certainly not overawed, and they missed the best opportunity in the last minute. Neil Emblem clear, 10 yards out, shot wide. They kept the league leaders pretty much at bay for half an hour. Then Andy Hunt, with 7 goals in 3 games, remember, had 2 good chances, both of them well saved by Oakes. Just before half-time, Hunt had a header disallowed for pushing. It's about even, and it's 0-0.
Manchester City against Norwich. Hall. It's Manchester 1, Norwich 1, and both goals from the headers from corners. Gotas on 2 minutes for Manchester. Roberts the equaliser on 15 minutes, and that equaliser has knocked the stuffing from Manchester. They've begun like thoroughbreds in incisive football. Kennedy in brilliant form, skinning his fullback such at will. And the match has become tetchy. Manchester playing the football, Norwich frustrating. And Mr. Bates, the referee, is eccentric. He missed a Manchester penalty for handball, and then, when Dickoff was grossly fouled, he booked Dickoff for diving. What next? Manchester 1, Norwich 1.
So, what's happening at Celtic, or certainly for Celtic in their first half since the departure of John Barnes? They're at Dundee. Roddy Forsyth.
It's snowing. It's snowing and blizzard right now. It's that threatened weather has come up the River Tay, but anyway, it's not doing any harm to the game at the moment because it is half-time. Goalless here at Celtic Park. Kenny Dalglish, as I said earlier, having wielded the surgeon's knife and completely reshaped the features of the Celtic team, with Alan Stubbs playing in central midfield and Ian Wright up front. It hasn't really gelled for Wright and Viduka. Wright had one chance, which was blocked, but really Stephen Mahay had the best opportunity for Celtic. For Dundee, Willie Falconer, and that's really the sum total of goal-mouth incident, which perhaps should suggest to you that they're cancelling each other out in midfield. Dundee 0, Celtic 0.
And it's finally over for the half at Highfield Road back in the Premiership. Coventry-Sunderland, Pat Murphy.
I bet Sunderland are glad it's over. 3-0 Coventry lead at the half-time. Coventry brilliant, Sunderland hopeless. The defence hapless, marking non-existent. Cyrus and the keeper mistake. First up, Keane nipped him, but he couldn't hold the free kick. Haji unmarked at the far post from a corner, rolled it in. Roussel and Haji walked the ball in between them. Roussel getting the final touch. 3-0 up in 15 minutes. Sunderland could even clog properly. Half-time, they're lucky not to be 6-0 down. Coventry 3, Sunderland 0.
Other half-times from the football world very shortly, but we're on to rugby union, where the leaders of Allied Dunbar Premiership 1 were beaten today. Northampton going down by 23 points to 19 at home to Bristol. Leicester-Newcastle continues meanwhile. Nigel Starmer-Smith.
Yes, that result gave a huge cheer here at Welford Road, where Leicester leading a helter-skelter game. 6 tries in the first half, 4 to Leicester, 2 to Newcastle. The lead changing hands 4 times. Might be missing some big stars, but no shortage of ambition, even if the defences look a bit fragile. 22-14, Leicester bidding for the number 2 spot.
In the Welsh-Scottish League, it's Abervale-Newport. David Parry-Jones.
15 minutes into the second half, 19-12 to Ebervale. Newport began this half jabbing at their opponent's 22 like a boxer shooting out a straight left, and then suddenly Jason Strange released the Ebervale three-quarters on a movement that went 80 metres and finished when Jonathan Williams got an unconverted try. 5 minutes later, those same backs were offside. Howes kicked his 4th penalty, since when Strange has added 2 more for Ebervale, which accounts for their comfortable lead now, 19-12.
Challenge Cup Rugby League. This is 4th round at Odsall. Alistair Yeomans.
Half-time, Bradford 16, Huddersfield 2. 2 tries for Bradford's brilliant left wing Leon Price, both at the expense of his suffering opposite number Chris Thorman. The first as he plucked Robbie Paul's kick to the corner, the second as he ploughed through a weak tackle. Poor Thorman punched the ground in frustration. Henry Paul has kicked 4 goals from 4 attempts, and Bradford have made light work of the blustery conditions. New signing Brad Mackay looks good in an outstanding set of forwards. Huddersfield in trouble. Bradford lead 16-2.
Rally news, Greg Strange.
As the cars start to return to Karlstad at the end of the second leg, Colin McRae will finish the day in 3rd after his charge for the lead evaporated in a big spin on stage 14 here. The Ford driver had done so well, coming up from 4th overnight to 2nd, and then smashing the existing record on the famous long Jutbo section to bring him within 15-19 seconds of the lead. Perhaps he was trying too hard. We've yet to get the full story, but it dropped him to 3rd, and after the final stage at Lunget, he's now 3 seconds adrift on the second-place man, Tommy Mackinnon, the world champion in his Mitsubishi, but 26.5 seconds behind the leader, Marcus Grunholm. Grunholm's Peugeot is starting to look unassailable. There are 5 stages tomorrow. He's never won a World Rally event. If he keeps the car going, the Finn's on course to record a victory. It will be Peugeot's first in World Rallying since 1986. Richard Burns is 5th tonight.
And the first snooker Masters finalist is known. Clive Everton, who is he?
The rising 22-year-old Welshman Matthew Stevens has beaten John Parrott by 6 frames to 2. 4-2 to Stevens when I was last with you. Parrott led by 32 in the 7th, but misjudged a close range plant. Stevens 33 laid a snooker behind the black and subsequently cleared yellow to pink to go 3 up with 4 to play. Clinching frame, Stevens 15 in front, flashed in the last red.
Birmingham 0, Bolton 1, Alan Johnson. Blackburn 0, Swindon 0, Crystal Palace 0, Sheffield United 0, Grimsby 2, Port Vale 0, Ipswich 1, Huddersfield 0. It was Jamie Scowcroft for the 3rd place side. Portsmouth 0, Fulham 0, QPR 0, Stockport 1.
It started to spit rain. But it's a fine game of football, and Newcastle are certainly enjoying it. Leading by a goal to 0. Duncan Ferguson with the sweetest of left foot volleys after 26 minutes as the goalkeeper. The defenders are Barton, Davies-Ass, Helder and Hughes. In midfield, Dyers, Lee, Speed and Gallagher. Strikers Shearer and Ferguson. The referee Stephen Laws just checking the lines and are happy. They are. He blows his whistle. We're underway. Manchester United in red shirts defending the goal to our right in this second half. Their goalkeeper is Bosnich, wearing tracksuit bottoms against the cold, you would think. Defenders Neville, Stam, Sylvestre and Irwin. And then in midfield, Beckham, Keane, Scholes and Giggs. Strikers Cole and Sheringham. Here's Ferguson, the goal scorer, heading on to Shearer, heads it down into the Manchester penalty area, but through to Bosnich. And I'm hearing something about St Johnston's match has been abandoned at half-time against Leeds because of snow. Well, no offence, but keep it your side of the border, please. Here's Manchester United running forward with Candy Cole. Davies-Ass heads it out of play, and it's a throw into the champions. Level with the edge of the Newcastle penalty area. Manchester left. Irwin takes it to Scholes. Scholes, yardage from the touchline. Back to Giggs. Giggs towards goals. Intercepted easily by Lee. And here's Ferguson. Back to Lee. Lee lifts it towards Shearer. Owen Gallagher headed away from Shearer. But it's found by speed. Gallagher again. Looking to the left, looking for Hughes, but the pass is behind him. It's Skerry's out of play for throwing the Manchester United. They're up to Vicarage Road, Dave Woods.
It's now Watford 1, Leicester City 1, 2 minutes into the second half. Nordin Verter, who was such a bright spark in the first half, got a clipped header onto a free kick from Peter Kennedy. 1-1.
Scholes for Manchester United. Doesn't reach Cole with a pass. Dyer intercepted. Back to Davies-Ass. Forward very quickly. Shearer's control, excellent. To Ferguson. And now Dyer. Barton running down the right, and it's played to the full-back. The rain is now drizzling on St James's Park. Dyer, poor pass forward. Dyer, in fact. And it's knocked away by Manchester United to the halfway line. Elder picks it up for Newcastle. And Cole fouled him. Rounds and flags. Without question, that's a free kick.
Yeah, I think a sign of Andy Cole's frustrations, really. He's been involved in one or two incidents. He's sort of reacted once or twice to his own men. And now it's a needless foul. Helder wasn't really going anywhere. And right in front of the referee and the linesman.
Yeah, it was a stupid foul, unnecessary. And it is rightly a free kick, though Warren Barton stolen a few yards. So it's midway inside the Manchester half. Barton plays it infield quickly, running towards Lee. Lee on his left foot, turns now, flicks it back to Gallagher. Gallagher 35 yards out. Gallagher wide to the left, and Aaron Hughes. Hughes lifts the cross in, hanging for Shearer. Shearer heads it down, but only to a red shirt, and that's Ryan Giggs. And Giggs spins and runs away towards opposition territory. And Giggs is quick. Dyer's quick too, getting back. Dyer's going to get the tackle in. Dyer wins the challenge fairly. Nice speed. Triple by Giggs. Teams in there as well, close together. Giggs heads it down. Cole, good play by Andy Cole. Playing it towards Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs was asleep, and it's taken up by Davies-Ass. Another frantic start to the half as it was in the first half.
Brave run by Giggs, but knowing that Dyer was right on his tail, perhaps was a bad judgment.
Dyer to the right, and Barton close to the corner flag and fighting the first time cross. There it goes. Deflected a little bit. Sylvester took it on his thigh, played it to Scholes, and now Irwin. Irwin left-footed. That's a good ball. Giggs chests it down to Cole. Beckham's running free down the right, and it's played towards David Beckham. And Newcastle are really stretched here. Giggs and Sheringham wait for the cross. There it goes, and the flag is up for offside against Teddy Sheringham. Wonder how long it'll be before Solskjaer's on.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Not 22 Wrexham 0. Not 22 Wrexham 0. Sorry, David.
Sorry, no, I wouldn't be surprised to see Solskjaer be introduced. I think Sheringham, I said before, I think he just shows signs of looking like a 33-year-old today. A little bit slow and off the pace.
Here's a young man. Dyer forward towards the Manchester penalty area as he tried to play the ball through, deflected away, and Beckham swirls it over the halfway line. Cole chases after it, and Davies-Ass suddenly alert to the danger, hoping to shepherd the ball behind for a goal kick, and the Greek does so successfully.
Andy Cole, credit to him, he didn't allow Davies-Ass to take it too easy. He was well shepherded out of play by Davies-Ass. Perhaps Cole could have conserved his energy somewhat, because he was never ever going to get onto it.
4 minutes gone in the second half. Newcastle 1, Manchester United 0. Elsewhere in the Premiership, Leeds 1, Spurs 0, Chelsea 0, Wimbledon 0, Coventry 3, Sunderland 0, Watford 1, Leicester 1, Everton 2, Derby 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Southampton 1. Sheffield Wednesday was the penalty there. West Ham 1, Bradford 1. And it's still 0 between Charlton and Wolves in the first division. Also in the first division, Manchester City 1, Norwich 1, Dundee 0, Celtic 0. Gallagher shoots. He was allowed to shoot, and it's behind for a goal kick. Sorry, a correction coming in. West Ham 2, Bradford 2. Only 2 goals out there. Well, they were level, I suppose. Do we get a point for that?
No. Oh, yeah.
Where did those 2 goals come from?
Dyer having a little bit of a grumble at Gallagher there. He perhaps wanted that ball played in. It would have been an awfully hard ball to play. Gallagher had every right to have an opportunity to have a shot. He was only 20 yards from goal. Just got over it a little bit. Just got under it rather. A little bit, and it just went over the crossbar.
Sheringham heads it on. Davies-Ass heads it away. Sheringham heads it down to Beckham. And now Keane inside the centre circle for Manchester United. Newcastle lead 1-0. You're listening to Sport on 5 on the BBC. Here's Sheringham, back to Keane. Keane first time pass to the far side, and Gary Neville. Neville chips it forward, and Sheringham's offside again.
Yeah, he came back from an offside position, no doubt. He was a yard. He's having a little moan and a groan, but there's absolutely no shadow of a doubt he was offside.
He also kicked the ball away as well as having the moan. Well. Let's not complain. They're lenient, and I generally prefer that. Lincoln 1, Torquay 0. Crystal Palace 0, Sheffield United 1 in the First Division. Harper's free kick for Newcastle, driven towards Ferguson. He heads it down, he might even get after it himself. He does, crosses into the penalty area, but Stan was waiting for that cross, intercepts and runs it away, does the Dutchman. Forward to Sheringham, back to Keane, the captain. Keane to the right, and an excellent run by Scholes down the inside back channel. Held up now by the presence of Lee. Back to Keane. Neville's available to his right. Further forward is Beckham, wearing the gloves. Beckham didn't control that ball. Tackled by Speed, and Newcastle have it. Held there to Hughes. Hughes to Ferguson, the goal scorer. Wide to the far side, and Gallagher. And Gallagher with a pass back, away from Cole. Back to Harper. Harper clears. Let's go to Steve Tongue at the Valley.
Where Charlton, the First Division leaders, are ahead against Wolves 1-0, 2 minutes into the half. Good work by Pringle. Square to Graham Stewart, and a tap-in. Charlton 1, Wolves 0.
Going great guns, Charlton. Really are. Running away with the First Division at the moment. Keane miscontrols it. Didn't like the abuse he got from the crowd and reacted to Irwin. Blackpool. Did I give out the score?
No.
I'm worried about the health of my producer. Giggs cross took a deflection, and out came Harper, gathered it well, and throws it out quickly to the far side. And Gallagher dares come to his right, says, "Give me the ball." Poor pass from Gallagher. Stam for Manchester United. Sheringham to his right, and it goes to Sheringham. Beckham lurking behind. First time cross from Beckham into the penalty area, and Barton works it away to safety up to the halfway line. Excuse me while I cough. Keane to Gary Neville. And I know it's raining now because my glasses are wet. Ball's crossed into the Newcastle penalty area. Well caught by Harper.
Harper did well to try and take a little easy ball to collect. There was a couple of United players in there, Scholes and Sheringham. He took it around waist height.
Fergie out of the dugout, not too happy with what he's watching, particularly the scoreline. Newcastle 1, Manchester United 0. Leeds are leading at Ellen Road against Tottenham. Arsenal and Liverpool play tomorrow. Sunderland losing 3-0 at Coventry. Lee for Newcastle United. And told to pass the ball to the left. Another good run forward by Hughes. Hughes miscontrolled it, but he still should keep it in play on the far side, and does keep it in play. Tried to take on Gary Neville quickly, and he's still hustling Neville. Oh, it's a goal kick, not a corner. Goal at West Ham, Steve Lee.
And it's now West Ham 2, Bradford City 3, and a disaster for the young West Ham goalkeeper Stephen Bywater, who's on for Shaka Hislop. He fumbled a long-range effort from Gunnar Haller, and there was Jamie Lawrence, red hair and all, tapping the ball in. Bradford now lead by 3 goals to 2.
Thanks very much indeed, Steve. Back here at St James's Park, you're listening to 5 Live in the BBC. Newcastle lead Manchester United 1-0. It's launched forward. Giggs is after it. Giggs crosses, takes a deflection, and Harper catches. But Harper wasn't too pleased with the position of his defenders there.
Bolton let the ball go and thought perhaps it was going to run through to Davies as he allowed so much space for Giggs to run into. The delivery wasn't quite right. The goal was an acre of space in front of the Newcastle goal.
Right, now there's a booking here for Alan Shearer. Shearer definitely fouled Sylvester, and then presumably again showed dissent. I don't think it was to the foul, this yellow card, but for dissent.
Shearer again, he himself has shown certain signs of being a little bit frustrated. Once or twice he hasn't sort of got past his man as easy as perhaps he thought he might have done. Has pulled up and reacted on a couple of occasions.
I think he's been quite frustrated, Alan Shearer, today. He hasn't seen a lot of the ball, has he?
No, and when he has, as I say, perhaps Sylvester rather has swept him up and quite easily.
Manchester United don't make the best use of that free kick, and Lee clears the ball out of play on the far side into the crowd. Thrown to Manchester United as we welcome listeners to the BBC World Service. The league leaders, the champions, Manchester United, trailing by a goal to 0 at Newcastle, but they're pressing forward now in this second half. Stam, right-footed towards Beckham. Beckham controls it well. Hughes quickly across. Beckham still has the ball, and he's looking for the throw-in and gets it off Gallagher. And he'll leave it to Gary Neville, no doubt. Keane hanging back, offering an option. Neville's looking to the penalty area. Sheringham's on the near post. It goes towards Sheringham. Davies has sent it away. Keane left foot volley, high and very, very wide, almost at the corner flag.
Yeah, not really the best of throws. Neville attempted a long throw, but he never really even cleared the first man in front. And when the ball came out to Keane, the opportunity was there, but he never looked really in the position to make a good contact with it. I think it's flowed off the outside of his foot. So Well, the referee has given a throw-in, but it actually went out for a goal kick.
Definitely went for a goal kick. Definitely went for a goal kick. And the referee, having completely botched it, put it in his place by the linesman.
Yeah, he runs away in shame, and with a bit of shame, and the fans enjoy that.
Well, Alex didn't enjoy it, and I don't blame him. But actually, the fourth official saw the funny side, because he looked at Alex as if to say, "Don't worry, all's in hand." And Fergie retreats.
Well, there's a little bit of frustration around United at this moment in time. Not able to really make much headway, and when they get near goal, they're sort of wasting either the final pass or the intended shot.
Here's Shearer coming forward. Sylvester under pressure, but Sylvester clears. Scholes to Keane. And Manchester United, still haven't created what you'd call a clear goal opportunity. Sheringham inside the centre circle. Quickly to Beckham. Neville sprinting forward down the right touchline. And Beckham moves infield. Beckham still going, and then the clearance is by Helder. Beckham fell over, and it's with Gallagher. And Gallagher walks it forward, and Shearer adjudged offside by the linesman. Another goal at West Ham, Steve Lee.
And it's astonishing here. It's now West Ham 2, Bradford City 4. An amazing development. Jamie Lawrence has just scored Bradford's 4. A looped effort from the edge of the box. It sailed right over the head of 18-year-old Stephen Bywater, the West Ham standing keeper. He's having a terrible day. Bradford are having a marvellous day. It's West Ham 2, Bradford City 4.
Well, if Arsenal can't beat them, why should West Ham? Here's Giggs forward to Manchester United, crossing the field for handball against Barton, not given. And I don't think the referee could have given any other decision. Alex Ferguson absolutely furious and being told to retreat, but if anything, that had to hit the player.
Yeah, it hit him more than the player going to put his arms up. And obviously Ferguson...
It was hand to ball, not ball to hand.
No, that's right. Alex Ferguson frustrated again at the decision, but right in front of the referee, it was very easy for him.
Beckham's corner, swirling in, punch clear by Harper, well clear by Harper. Keane on the far side. But the pressure building now on Newcastle, who still lead by a goal to nil. 13 minutes played in the second half. Another cross into their penalty area. Shearer back there defending. Heads it clear. Irwin heads it down. Ferguson holding his back. I think Ferguson's got a problem here.
Yeah, he's been limping around for the last 5 minutes. I don't know whether it's in his back or his hamstring or something, but he certainly doesn't look as if he's capable of going much longer.
And now Bobby Robson's out, looking at Ferguson, he's up to say, what is it? What is it? Yes, it is a lovely little cameo here. Robson turns to the bench and says, what does that gesture mean? What does it mean? I don't think he knows whether he should be playing or not playing. Ferguson's running on here, and that's rather farcical, isn't it?
Well, years ago when I played, they picked up an injury straight away, and they were straight on. He's hobbled around for the last 5 minutes. I think Ferguson's expected them to pick it up from the bench.
Beckham towards great ball, and another great tackle by Helder. Giggs us through.
Yeah, superb ball by Beckham. He's just lobbed that casually over Barton's head. Just wouldn't come down quick enough for Ryan Giggs to get that shot in. Great interception.
Beckham's corner to Giggs. Back to Beckham. There's a cross towards Cole. Out comes Harper and Garrison.
Yeah, another good take by Harper. The ball just sort of dropping. Wasn't very easy for him to pick it up.
Good throw. Now, will Dyer take on Irwin? Sounds rushing back. Dyer just hesitated. And now he plays it infield to Speed. Ferguson behind him. Speed is the ball. Looking for Gallagher. Not a good ball. And played by Manchester United, and Newcastle fans beginning to worry. The tide's turning. Their side still lead 1-0. That's a great ball by Sheringham to Beckham, but Beckham's control wasn't good in this occasion, and Barton should clear, and does clear. Out of play for a throw.
Not a great ball by Beckham. Couldn't have held in there. Nice signal for better angle to receive.
Ipswich 1, Huddersfield 1 in the first division. Here's Beckham for Manchester United. Ball into the penalty. Cole lifts it over the goalkeeper. And saved on the line by Harper. I thought that had to be in, but the linesman's walking right along the line and says no.
It looked like it looked like Andy Cole had miraculously chipped Harper from so close in. A little bit of a volley. Andy Cole thinks it went over the line, but the linesman was certainly well placed. And it just as it came off the post, and Harper, Sheringham, really couldn't sort of clear it out of Harper's body, and he was able to tidy it up.
Well, it's impossible for us to tell, but I've got to say, when Cole chipped, I thought, that's it, 1-1. I was thinking 100th goal for Manchester United, but it wasn't. And now it's offside against Rob Lee, right on the edge of the Manchester penalty area. Birmingham 1, Bolton 1 in the first division. Bristol Rovers 1, Scunthorpe 1. And here's Kit Spire coming on for Duncan Ferguson as a substitute.
Yeah, well, the crowd are delighted with Ferguson's contribution. I think when he comes off, though, I think he might get a little bit of a rollicking from Bobby Robson, because he's been limping around, and as you said before, on that little cameo of Bobby Robson going berserk on the line was quite amusing.
Well, I mean, Robson was shouting across to Ferguson and said, what is it? You know, what are you talking about? And the gesture from Ferguson obviously meant nothing to him.
Yeah. I think Ferguson perhaps might have thought that the bench might have picked up that he was injured and come over to him a little bit earlier, but he was hobbling around for quite a while.
By the way, I knew someone in the studio was trying to tell me whether that ball was over the line or not from a television, but it was over the line. Well. You better watch Match of the Day tonight then, folks.
Well, it looked like it had to be over the line from this angle, because Cole and Harper were so close, but the way it came out led you to believe that perhaps it mightn't have been.
Here's Keane through into the penalty area, and he lunges for the ball. Has he caught Harper? No whistle initially, and now the referee blows for a free kick. King goes up to the goalkeeper, Harper, and says, look, hey, I was just trying to get the ball, and I think he genuinely was.
Yeah, I think so, no doubt about it. I mean, the fans are up on out of the seats again, but he had every right. The goalkeeper hadn't got the ball, and, in this situation, King was fully committed to go for it. It looked a little bit dangerous. I don't think it was as bad as it looked.
Do you think I should tell these Newcastle fans in front of us that the ball was over the line? Do you think it would
they
cheer them up?
appreciate it?
Well, I don't know. It might make them feel just a little bit grateful. Let's go to Goodison Park, Peter Slater.
But Derby have pulled one back. A goal from substitute Avi Nimni, the Israeli. He'd only been on 2 minutes, rode a couple of tackles and fired it past Thomas Mara. So it's now Everton 2, Derby County 1.
And here, after 63 minutes, Newcastle still lead 1-0. Here's Shearer for Newcastle. To the right, and Barton. Dyer ahead of him. Barton comes forward, flicks it to Dyer. First time cross into the penalty area. Flicked away, and it runs through a red shirt. That's Keane. And now Scholes. It's 1-0 to Newcastle, but strictly speaking, it should be 1-1. Because the Cole chip over Harper crossed the line, but the goal wasn't given as Harper clawed the ball back.
Well, certainly Cole felt that it was over. He made large appeal over to the linesman and continued it for quite a while afterwards.
Oh, now Keane's in trouble. Keane's off. He's just brought Lee down. It's going to be another card. And Roy Keane doesn't wait for the red. Roy Keane exits. And protest from Manchester United. Cole's now in trouble. He said something. He's still chasing after the referee. Beckham's trying to pull Cole away. There's no question. I haven't seen the red card yet, but Keane has been sent off. And now Stephen Lodge is trying to maintain order.
Yeah, well, I think Roy Keane knew that his card was marked, certainly as Lee went down. I actually don't feel that it was a bad foul and didn't warrant a booking, and I think the crowd, if anything, perhaps might have helped to get Roy Keane off, because Lee went down, didn't have any treatment or anything, just went down and has got up.
Right, the thing is, what's Beckham still going on to the referee about? I don't know, but he should back off. Cole's been booked, Keane's off.
Yeah, I think perhaps Beckham's gone out to the referee and said, OK, that's it, let's calm down, don't get overexcited. It's silly for Andy Cole to get involved. Feel a little bit for Roy Keane, perhaps, because I didn't think it was the worst of fouls.
And Sheringham looks at the United bench and says, what do we do now? Do we rearrange? And Steve McLaren and Alex Ferguson between them are telling them, I think he's told them up front to stay two up front.
Yeah.
Because they're a goal down, remember. Let's go quickly to Highfield Road. Pat Murphy.
Kevin Phillips has turned on, put one back for Sunderland. Superb volley on the run, right foot. Coventry 3, Sunderland 1.
They've only lost 2 games in the Premiership this season. Away to Chelsea, away to Spurs. They're 1-0 down to Newcastle and down to 10 men. Their captain, Keane, sent off. Here's Hughes on the far side. Crosses early towards Shearer. Shearer jumps, ball drops awkwardly and drops to Irwin. Irwin forward to Giggs. In the midfield now squeeze. It's going to be Beckham, Scholes and Giggs. So where will the width come from for Manchester United? Oh, there's a foul by Scholes. And that's also a yellow card. Tackle from behind, no question.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a booking in this day and age of football. We did think that perhaps referees begin to show a little bit of common sense, and we gave a little bit of credit to Mr. Lodge, but now seems to have lost it a little bit, and every tackle, every sort of protest seems to bring out the yellow card. But it will be difficult for Manchester United to readjust, because Keane has been a great part of their team today. He's got forward at every opportunity, has generally inspired them and calmed things down. So without them, I think he's a major factor.
You're listening to David Fairclough, and no doubt there'll be Leeds fans listening at Ellen Road who'll be loving this. Manchester United trail 1-0. Leeds lead 1-0 against Tottenham. Tomorrow it's Arsenal-Liverpool. You'll hear that game at 5 Live. Newcastle free kick. Keyed up for Shearer. Shearer shot blocked by Scholes. Rebounds to Helder. Second goal now for Newcastle. Will kill it off. His gets by into the penalty area, but he doesn't collect the ball. And Gary Neville clears away to the far side. Goal at Dundee. Ready for side.
Yes, and it's for Kenny Dalglish's Celtic side. Mark Wright. Shot deflected. The keeper just touched it over the crossbar from the corner. Celtic couldn't handle Mahi. Nearly got in the end of his flick. It's 1-0 Celtic.
Just watching there as the Scholes went in from behind again. And Beckham's just fouled. They've got to be very careful now, Manchester United. They're getting themselves in trouble. Macclesfield 2, Barnet 0. Sorry.
It's a good day in the Prestbury region.
Hey, now Stuart Hall be sending me offensive letters knowing where I live. Bury 1, Luton 0.
Now, a dangerous lunge by Beckham there, given the way the referee's been handing out the yellow cards. I mean, no doubt that was a foul. That was probably a worse foul than Roy Keane's foul on Lee, I think.
Gallagher's free kick, headed away by Stamm. Lee knocks it down. Manchester United hemmed in their own half at the moment. Forward it goes towards Lee again. Sylvester intercepts. Good ball to Giggs. Back to Irwin. Irwin to Scholes. On to Sheringham. Sheringham takes it in his right thigh and then caught in possession by Dubizat. Kitsbar takes it up. 35 yards out. Kitsbar still has the ball. Plays it to the right to Dar. Shearer waits in the penalty. Dar runs towards the box. Tackled by Irwin. Keeps it. And then he's tackled by Sylvester and Kitsbar caught Sylvester. Good refereeing by Stephen Lodge. Played the advantage. Ball was just Manchester United. Beckham. Forward to Sheringham. Back to Cole. Cole away from his marker easily. That was Rob Lee. There it goes to Beckham. Beckham's crossed into the penalty area. Dubizas heads it high and away. Beckham heads it back into the box. Dubizas there once more. And now it's headed clear by Speed. Neville to Giggs. Giggs edge of the penalty area. Flicks it to the right to Beckham. Lifted in. Cole missed the header. It was a great chance. Ball's off to Giggs. Giggs hits it high into the crowd.
Yeah, I think Ryan Giggs in a great position there. The lunge again, though, by Robert Lee obviously put Ryan Giggs. But you have to say the delivery from Beckham was absolutely top class. Brilliant. I think on occasions one or two people have got into crossing positions and have been very wasteful. But there, when it mattered, the cross from Beckham was absolutely quality and pinpointly placed.
Well, here's a very positive response now from Sir Alex Ferguson. Nicky Butt's gone on. Irwin's been taken off. And I think Manchester United are going to a 3 at the back. They've gone to a 3. Another goal at Dundee. Ready for side?
Yes, it must be very good to be Kenny Dalglish today. This time Mark Viduka making it 2 in 3 minutes. Took the ball for a walk across the front of the penalty area. It wasn't the hardest shot. It was precise. It was good enough. It's 2-0.
Birmingham 2, Bolton 1. Right edge to the Manchester penalty area. Back to Dar. It's on his wrong foot and he crosses weakly and it's headed away. And Giggs takes it up. Foul by Dar. Spot over the linesman. Free kick to Manchester United.
Well, it sounds funny, though, to say, but Ryan Giggs beaten by a little bit of youth there on 1 or 2 occasions.
He's an old man now, Giggs.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's strange to say, but on 1 or 2 occasions, Dyer has been a real thorn in Giggs' side. When Giggs has tried to make ground down the left-hand side, Dyer's always been there to threaten him.
Beckham down the far side for Manchester United, who are now playing with 3 at the back, 4 in midfield and 2 up front. But on a substitute, forward towards Andy Cole. Helder's going to shove with that ball behind for a goal kick. I've got to say, I feel a lot of sympathy with strikers in that situation, David. So often it's actually a case of obstruction by the defender, but it's never ever given.
No, most definitely. It's always been the case. I think down the years, myself, I was frustrated by defenders sort of getting away with that type of movement.
They just run at you, don't they? They run at you and make sure you don't get anywhere near the ball.
Yeah, and they're always big and bulky and horrible and you can't get around them.
20 minutes to go. Newcastle lead Manchester United by a goal to 0. Elsewhere in the Premiership, it's Leeds 1, Tottenham 0. Penalty at West Ham. Steve Lee.
Yes, a penalty that's gone to West Ham, and Paolo Di Canio, who's been arguing with Frank Lampard about whether he's going to take it or not, he's now decided he will. There's been a bit of scuffling between the players and the referees sorting it all out. There's now some scuffling on the edge of the box between the Bradford and the West Ham players. The ball's still on the penalty spot, and the referee's called Trevor Sinclair over to have a word with him. We're still waiting for the penalty to be taken. There was a bit of argy-bargy on the edge of the box, and it looks like Sinclair is arguing with the referee. What happened was Kitson made a charge on the Bradford goal. He was hauled back by David Weatherall. Weatherall was booked, and then Di Canio and Lampard were arguing about who was going to take the penalty. It's now back to the spot, and Di Canio is standing by to take the penalty. He takes it, and he scores. So, West Ham have pulled themselves back into the game. An amazing game. It's now West Ham 3, Bradford 4. And Paolo Di Canio is triumphantly carrying the ball back to the centre spot.
A second goal for Charlton. They lead Wolves 2-0 after 65 minutes. Barnes's cross fell for Steve Brown, the captain for the day. A low 20-yarder. Charlton 2, Wolves 0.
Newcastle 1, Manchester United 0. Keane sent off. And it's elsewhere by the way. Reading 1, Millwall there. Oldham 1, Gillingham 3. Does that mean that Keane will miss the Liverpool game, David Fairclough?
Quick calculation. I think that Keane misses the United-Liverpool game in 2 or 3 weeks' time. 3 weeks' time,
No, I think Gerrard misses it for Liverpool.
Yeah, he was disappointed
that he's going to miss playing against Roy Keane.
Exactly, yeah. He's been saying that all week, so he's had a little bit of a result, and he can have his ambition fulfilled another day.
Well, the teams who still think they can beat Manchester United to the Premiership title are having a bit of a result at the moment. Newcastle leading 1-0, and we've only got 17 minutes to go, and Manchester United down to 10 men. Beckham feeds it through towards Cole. Cole stopped running. Lee plays it back to Harper, his goalkeeper, and Harper swings his right foot and delivers the ball over the halfway line. Sam only heads it to speed. Onto Dyer, and now Ketspire. Onside. Ketspire, though, forced to hold up. Ketspire turns. A lunging challenge from Nicky Butt. Ketspire throws the ball. Now he plays it to Shearer. Shearer to Hughes on the far side. Gallagher ahead of him. And it goes to the Scot. Gallagher, yarded from the left touchline. On to Hughes. That was well played. Beckham's back there to try to impede the progress. Hughes tries to cross. It hits Beckham. Beckham's in there again. And Neville lifts it away right-footed. But only to Speed. Speed infield to Rob Lee. Lee, volley, right-footed. Just wide. I'm sure the goalkeeper Bostic had it covered though.
Yeah, I think so. I think it bounced up nicely for Robert Lee, steadied himself, and I think Bostic seen it all the way. It was quite clearly over there and would have had it covered had it been on target. No problem at all.
Here's Solskjaer for Sheringham.
Yeah, no surprise actually to see Teddy Sheringham come off, I have to say. I don't really think that he's been in best of form today. He's looked a little bit lackadaisical at times, perhaps not as well as pacey, perhaps as I think you need to be against a Dabizas or a Helder, and obviously with United trailing by a goal, no surprise to see Solskjaer coming on, major threat.
Their only defeat in the last 7 visits here was in 1996 when Newcastle won 5-0. Here's Shearer forward. Shearer's good. That finishes it. That finishes Manchester United off on Tyneside. Terrific goal from Alan Shearer. He's now hit 22 this season for Newcastle United, and surely that strike from 25 yards has won all 3 points. Newcastle 2, Manchester United 0.
Well, we would expect it, I think, a little bit of lapse in concentration. United perhaps didn't close Shearer down as perhaps they might have done, but certainly the shot wasn't hit with the greatest of pace. It was well placed into the bottom corner of the goal, and the United players are actually furious with Bosnich, very lackadaisical. We made a point earlier on in the game that he was tracking bottom. I do think sometimes that doesn't allow him the freedom of movement that perhaps it might do really on had it just been in shorts, and United fans players are really angry.
I think they're beaten now. I mean, this will be some comeback with only 10 men. 2-0 down. Another goal at West Ham. Steve Lee.
It's now West Ham 4, Bradford 4. We're all running out of paper in the press box. An amazing game, and Joe Cole is now the hero of the day.
To Shearer, England's number 1, chant the Newcastle fans, and understandably so. I mean, I was amongst many in the media who were heavily criticising Alan Shearer's form just a few moments back, but he is stung back, without question, back at his best. So there's a goal at Stamford Bridge. Ron Jones.
And it's gone to Wimbledon. Andreas Lund, the Norwegian international, has scored on his debut. A cracking shot into the top corner of the net. Ball headed back across goal by Carl Court. A goal for Lund. Chelsea 0, Wimbledon 1.
Here's Shearer. Shearer plays the ball towards the edge of the Manchester penalty area and knocked away, importantly, by Silvestre. It's Ipswich 2, Huddersfield 1. Halifax 0, Rochdale 2. Portsmouth 0, Fulham 1. The ball laid back to Harper. We've got a little over 12 minutes to go at St James's Park. This is the BBC, 5 live in the World Service. Newcastle 2, Manchester United 0. Here's Beckham. And Beckham forward as the Bladen Races is sung at St James's Park. Now Cole on the far side, who once responded to that song. He's tackled, falls behind. Corner to Manchester United.
Good play again by Garrick. Neat play by Cole in the first instance to get around, held in such a tight situation. And thankfully for Newcastle, Gallagher was on his toes and came and swept the danger away.
Beckham corner. right-footed, high into the penalty area, and Scholes got his head to it, but he was leaning back, and he heads it high over the crossbar behind for a goal kick.
Superb delivery by Beckham. Unfortunately for Scholes, he got a little bit ahead of the ball, perhaps a little bit of a whipness on that ball. Made it difficult for Scholes to readjust in the air, and he never really was able to get over it, and it's just easily gone over the crossbar.
So Leeds are leading, Chelsea are losing, Sunderland are losing, Manchester United are losing. And Arsenal and Liverpool will be reasonably happy with the situation.
Given that they've got a day off now to reassess, look at the situation, I think they will be thankful the way the results are.
Big game tomorrow on 5 Live on the BBC. Shearer comes forward, he's already scored once, crosses towards the penalty area, simple header clear by Stamm out of play for a throw-in. A Rugby Union full time, Leicester 34, Newcastle 26. So Newcastle losing Rugby Union, but they're winning in football. Barton crosses deep. I think that was a shot, actually. He spotted Bosnich up his line, and he's just indicating to Dyer that he was trying to dip the ball over the goalkeeper's head, but the shot was wide of the post.
You're never really going to threaten Bosnich. I think he did notice that Bosnich perhaps had come forward slightly, but the way he was lined up never really inspired you to think that it would find its way into the net.
From the goal kick, speed jump, such it is Davizas. But the ball's hooked on by Butt. Cole is there, tackled by Helder, and lashed away by Hughes. Sylvester meets it on the halfway line. Manchester United just playing with 3 defenders at the moment. Neville, Stamm, and Sylvester. Here's Giggs. It flashes off the surface over the touchline for a throw-in to Newcastle. 10 minutes to go.
Just needed the slices of touch really from Solskjaer to come back to Giggs. Got too much onto it and went over the head, and again another sign that perhaps the United players a little bit frustrated, overreacting that the ball went out of play.
Chesterfield 0, Preston 1. Gets Via. Back to Shearer. Shearer now to Hughes on the far side. Speed rushing ahead of him. Hughes looks infield instead though to catch fire. Back to Rob Lee. Newcastle in charge. Rob Lee, right-footed, drifting the ball towards the right flank. Giggs is there and heads it back to Sylvester. Solskjaer sprints over the halfway line, but Davizas is with him, tracking him well, takes that intended pass in the chest, and forward it goes to Gallagher. And Dyer running through now towards the penalty here. Gets fire, right-footed, then turns onto his left-footed, near the edge of the D. Flicks it to the left. Dyer on his right foot. Danger for Manchester United. Left-footed shot by Dyer, blocked by Gary Neville.
Did well Stamm to come across. Dyer, I thought, was trying to work it onto his right foot. Instead took Neville back onto his left, and Stamm got across.
Beckham crosses deep from the right. He was intending that for Giggs, but he just missed the record.
Yeah, a difficult ball to find. He was so far out on that right-hand side. United looking a little bit disjointed at this moment in time, not quite playing together and searching to find a little bit of a formation.
And it's a throw-in now to Newcastle over the halfway line. 8.5 minutes to go. This is 5 Live in the World Service on the BBC. Newcastle 2, Manchester United 0. Lee on towards Shearer. Poor ball from one England player to another, and it's through to Bosnich. Another goal at Dens Park, ready for side.
It's finished here now, Alan. Dundee 0, Celtic 3. Buckshaw chasing a long ball, met the goalkeeper, Douglas, outside his box. The ball ricocheted from the goalkeeper. Colin Healy, 50 yards out, lobbed it into the empty net. So it's Dundee 0, Kenny Douglas, Celtic 3.
Thanks, Ronnie. Newcastle lead Manchester United 2-0 here at St James's Park. And that threat of rain has gone away, thank goodness. And it's once more clear blue sky. Floodlights on. And Manchester United come forward again, but without much conviction now.
Very deliberate type of ball from Sylvester. He didn't get enough curve on the ball, and Newcastle again found it quite easy to blot out, but certainly Solskjaer and Cole were on slightly beyond the Newcastle back four.
Lee to catch fire, and Fire's running powerfully forward, approaching the Manchester penalty, shoots right footed, and that was dipping, but it dipped too late, and it's over the crossbar.
That was a great effort. He went at Neville with pace, came back onto his right-hand side, and then tried to whip one into the top corner of the goal. A fair old effort, just slightly clear in the top.
Didier Domi's coming on for Kevin Gallagher, and Gallagher receives much applause. A goal at Stamford Bridge. Ron Jones.
An equaliser for Chelsea, and what an equaliser. Certainly watch this one tonight on Match of the Day. Gustavo Poyet, a volley from 20 yards as the ball looped towards him. He just hit it full blast on the run, high into the top corner. It really was a marvellous strike. Chelsea won, Wimbledon won.
And they're still standing here to applaud Gallagher off. Is there a second substitution? Yes, there is. Because Gavilan is coming on for Kieran Dyer. Gavilan, I think he came on last week against Sunderland and didn't get a kick. So his first kick will be the first kick for a Paraguayan in the Premiership. Here he is. Stand by, he heads it first. Now he kicks it. It's history. And it's down the right flank for Shearer. Stam across, and Stam, oh, no, Stam's in trouble. Because Stam was bellowing dissent at the linesman, and that's got to be a yellow card, and thoroughly deserved, and he's still shouting at the referee. And unless Stam comes back quickly, he's going to get into further trouble. There's no excuse for that whatsoever.
Well, it's only a throw-in at the end of the day, and United 2-0 down, picking up a lot of silly bookings now and overreacting. Referee had very little option.
Not at all. None at all. Stam, yellow card. I'll be counting them up in a minute, but there's too many of them for now. Keane sent off from him. His sheer shot! Post is scrambling at his near post. Palmed the ball behind for a corner.
Well, certainly he was acrobatic enough there, Mark Boss. It's really on his toes. Good bowling by Gavilan. Shearer reacted to it. Quick little sort of right-footed curling shot that was heading for the corner of the goal. Boss's got away, saved it well.
Gavilan takes the corner to Barton. Barton tries to play the cross in, but it deflects away, and then Barton takes it off Beckham. Running back towards the halfway line, tackled by Giggs, falls over, so to play, and Giggs definitely kicked out at Barton's right ankle there. And, you know, there's a lack of control in many of these Manchester United players now. But there's another goal at Ron Jones. Come in, Stamford Bridge.
A complete change around here because Chelsea have now taken the lead. 2 goals in under 2 minutes. The second one, a George Weah header to add to Gustavo Poyet's equaliser. Jody Morris applied the cross after a lovely pass by Zola, who's on a substitute. George Weah, a header at the far post. Chelsea 2, Wimbledon 1.
And Shearer's just scored again from Newcastle United. Domi sprinting down the left-hand side. Cross low, it wasn't cleared. Shearer shot forwards. It hit Kostic, ended up on the net. It's Newcastle 3, Manchester United 0.
Well, as I said before, would you dream of passes like that when somebody like Domi comes down the left-hand side, delivers an absolute peach of a pass. It really didn't need much conversion. Shearer gratefully lashed it with his right foot. Kostic obviously all isolated, had little opportunity to save, but I thought the pass was absolutely top draw from Domi.
I think he was left out, you know, today because of his defensive frailties last week.
Perhaps feeling that they needed a little bit of a match for Beckham, somebody a little bit more lively down that side, and he's come back and tried to make a point.
Right. Well, the point has been made by Newcastle. 3-0 up against Manchester United, who are down to 10 men. Keane sent off, others booked. Not a clever day for the champions. Speed for Newcastle. To Domi. Richly deserves the applause he's getting for that delivery for Shearer. And Domi's running forward again. He's got terrific pace. Plays it to another man with speed. That's Ketspire. Ketspire left-footed towards Shearer. Shearer's on a hat-trick. It's the ball down. It's hooked forward by speed, but only into the arms of Bostic. Manchester City, a goal there. Should hold.
2 goals in 1 minute, and both from the left foot of Kennedy. He's turned the match upside down, is Kennedy. He's been quiet for the last 40 minutes, but by God, he's just popped into it now. First one was a half-volley left foot. The second one was Daisy Kerr, but the game of the left foot. But it's Manchester 3, Norwich 1.
I think Main Road will be pretty pleased with this scoreline as well. Newcastle 3, Manchester United 0. Cole for Manchester United. De Solskjaer. Back to Giggs. Giggs to Beckham. Beckham inside the centre circle. No one down the right. And he has to play it back to Gary Neville. Neville now comes forward. To their eternal credit, Manchester still keep going forward. But to no good effect on that occasion as Cole miscontrolled the ball.
Certainly as the ball came in by Neville, Cole was a little bit exposed or isolated amongst those 3 or 4 Newcastle people who are really full of run in these.
Here's Gavilan taking on Butt, beating him for pace, but Butt persists, gets back there, and then side puts the ball out of play for a throw-in to Newcastle, of course.
And in a similar position a few minutes earlier, Stam had a go at the linesman, but Butt kept his cool and just accepted that decision, the throwing goal to Newcastle.
And it's gone to Ketspire. Ketspire comes forward and runs into a defender. Giggs doesn't clear properly, and it's back with Barton. Newcastle looking for a 4th goal here. It's with Helder inside the centre circle to Lee. So the situation around the top of the table, folks. Leeds leading Spurs 1-0. Chelsea coming from a goal down to lead Wimbledon 2-1. Sunderland are trailing 3-1 at Coventry. Arsenal and Liverpool play tomorrow. Elsewhere in the Premiership, by the way. Watford 1, Leicester 1, Everton 2, Derby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Southampton 1. Extraordinary game at Upton Park, 4-4 between West Ham and Bradford. It's 2-0 to Charlton against Wolves at the Valley in the First Division. Manchester City lead Norwich City 3-1 at Main Road, and it's Dundee 0, Celtic 3 in our featured game in Scotland. We've got a little over a minute to go at St James's Park in our commentary match on Sport on 5 and the World Service in the BBC. 3-0 to Newcastle, and extraordinary though it is, there's been another goal for Steve Lee at Upton Park.
It's now West Ham 5, Bradford City 4, and Frank Lampard has curled one in from the edge of the box. 4-2 down, they're now 5-4 in front.
I don't blame you, Steve. How do you keep track of that? What a game.
Must have been about 2 hours long tonight.
This is quite a scrap, isn't it?
Yeah.
This has been a good game.
Great game.
Well, certainly for Newcastle. There won't be too many Manchester United fans will remember it with any affection.
They'll be a little bit disappointed the way that it's turned out. Obviously, losing Keane has been a major factor in the result, but both against Newcastle they played very well.
Giggs to Solskjaer, left edge of the penalty area, tackled by Barton and by Lee, and Beckham went in aggressively, but he was looking for the ball, not the player, and it's cleared by Gavila up to the centre circle. Well played by Gary Neville to get there before it expire. 3 minutes of stoppage time left for play. 3 minutes of stoppage time that is still to be played. Here's Stam for Manchester United. Back to Bosnich, who you thought was partially at fault for the second goal for Newcastle, the first of Shearer's too. Here is Shearer. The other goal before half-time scored by Duncan Ferguson, who was substituted in the second half. Beckham for Manchester United. Looking to that, there's no width now, that's the problem. No width at all. Everything has to be thumbed through the middle, and it keeps on breaking down as it did there. Barton to Speed. Speed running through the centre circle. Speed steps away from Scholes. Looking to the right. Shearer's completely unmarked. Good ball by Speed. Shearer collects. Gets by as the only player for Newcastle inside the penalty area. Speed approaching the edge of the box. Back towards Speed. He wanted to take out the ball. He didn't drop for it. Gets by as there, but then he falls down. Free kick to Manchester United. Beckham takes it quickly to Giggs. Forward to Solskjaer. Solskjaer to Beckham. Beckham to the far side, and Nicky Butt. Surely Hughes will get there first. He does, and he also beats Butt for pace, but runs the ball out of play.
Well, of course, he's gone out of United's game now a little bit. I think the ball normally from Beckham would have been delivered a lot more precise to Nicky Butt instead. Gives it to Newcastle.
Here's a pass for Beckham to Cole, but Cole beaten by Davies Aston. It's been a very frustrating afternoon for Andy Cole back on Tyneside.
Very much so. Davies Aston has been very firm and solid at the back, offered little opportunities to Cole and to Sheringham, and having that protection of Speed and Lee in front of them hasn't really made it easy for Manchester United to make much progress to the centre.
Speed to Hughes, and then Hughes gives the ball away. And here's Solskjaer for Manchester United. We're inside the second minute of stoppage time, of which we've got 3 at the end of this game. Solskjaer working very hard and still has the ball on the far side, despite 3 challenges, and then he's so unfortunate because as it goes out of play, it's a Newcastle throw-in, not Manchester United.
Yeah, Solskjaer just fighting for the scraps out there with Helder and Hughes. Not really much opportunity to make much ground for. I say just a little bit of respectability now, I think, from Manchester United.
Well, it's very interesting. It's only this last week that most people, not most people, but many people, I was one of them, thought this championship race was over. And heard the fat lady singing all over the place. But here they are, they're losing here. They've lost this game. And next Sunday, they're away to Leeds United, Manchester United.
It's a particularly good run of fixtures in the Premiership. Leeds playing United, Liverpool playing United again in a couple of weeks. Anything can happen.
Here's Speed shooting in. Bosnich fumbled it, but was able to pounce on the ball because Shearer was a good few yards away.
Yeah, it looked a little bit unsure there, Mark Bosnich. Came out at half-time, actually had a little bit of a training session with Tony Coton, and he wasn't really taking the ball.
As well. And there is the final whistle, the significance of which we'll only know in a few months' time, but most unexpectedly, Manchester United have come to Tyneside where they've been so successful in recent years, and they've been hammered. Their captain Keane has been sent off. The final score, Newcastle United 3, Manchester United 0.
The Premiership, exclusive to 5 Live.
And as the final whistles go around the country, we'll start at Vicarage Road. Watford-Leicester, Dave Woods.
It's finished 1-1. Matt Elliott hooking a goal in 6 minutes before the break. Nordin Virtue, an outstanding player for Watford throughout the afternoon, equalising 2 minutes into the second half. What a stand the man. 90 minutes he played. 2 late headers, one at the crossbar, one saved at full stretch by Chris Day. No goal for him, but a quiet and a promising opening for his Leicester debut. Watford 1, Leicester 1.
Sheffield Wednesday, Southampton, John Murray.
Sheffield Wednesday 0, Southampton 1. Joel Tessum scored the only goal on 26 minutes, a stretching finish from an Oakley cross. Crucially, Paul Jones saved it to build a penalty 3 minutes later. Jones contributed a string of other important first-half saves, but the second half was absolutely forgettable unless you're from Southampton. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Southampton 1.
Celtic's rotten week is over. Roddy Forsyth.
Dundee 0, Celtic 3. Just over 10,000 spectators peering through the blizzard, saw all the action happen in the snow in the second half. It was Johan Mjalby with a header from a Mahi flick putting Celtic ahead. 3 minutes later, Viduka solo run, soft shot but precise, 2-0, and then young Chris Healy with his first goal for the club, coming on as a substitute, a 40-yard lob into an empty net after Douglas had got himself stranded. So Dundee now carried Dalglish's 11-3.
Now a late goal at Stamford Bridge. Ron Jones.
Yes, we're in stoppage time, but a third goal for Chelsea, and now lead Wimbledon by 3 goals to 1. Jody Morris on the substitute got it. A lovely finish after a sweeping move involving George Weah, Zola and Flo. Morris's finishing from the edge of the area was perfect. 3-1 now Chelsea lead.
And another goal flash from Highfield Road. Pat Murphy.
Sunderland have pulled another goal back. It's now 3-2. We have 3 minutes to go. A Quinn flick on.